So far, you've already learned how to use swear words, and you've learned some important idioms that native English speakers use. So now it's time to really connect with Americans on one of their biggest passions. And of course, that is McDonald's. In this video, you're gonna meet someone from Australia, and you're gonna learn what is un-American in Australian McDonald's stores. And then you're gonna visit the McDonald's Museum to learn about the humble beginnings of this gigantic franchise. By the time you finish this lesson, you'll be able to accurately describe your own McDonald's story in English, and you'll be able to describe a local chain to an outsider or a foreigner who visits your culture in English.
Hi guys, I am out in front of a McDonald's here, and that is what this lesson is about. How much more American could you get than McDonald's? So there's some vocabulary that comes up in today's lesson. You can hear I'm on sort of a busy street corner, as you know, McDonald's are everywhere. So this is the one that I chose because it is a very popular restaurant in this neighborhood.
Please write these words and their definitions in your vocabulary notebook.
Okay, vocabulary. In the video, we hear someone say splatter. Splatter's a great word, and that means just when like a liquid or a sauce just gets splattered, right? Like it goes everywhere, okay? So that's splatter. Also, the idiom have a blast. To have a blast is to have a great time, to have a blast. Another idiom, to swear something off. Lindsay said she has sworn off McDonald's. That means she will never go there. I myself have also sworn off McDonald's. I'm at one, yes, but I will not eat here. But it's fine if you do, no judgment. So that's to swear something off, to say you are never going to do it again. To bug someone about something, that's to like annoy someone about something. So for example, if a kid is like, please can I have a toy, please can I have a toy, then that kid is bugging you about buying a toy. So lots of great vocabulary today, guys.
Here is your task.
When you watch this video, you are going to practice comprehending and understanding by listening to certain things and taking notes. So first, you're going to listen to Lindsay talk about her nostalgic story of McDonald's. I want you to take notes on Lindsay's story. Okay, don't write complete sentences, just listen and take notes as you listen, okay? Very valuable skill, listening and writing at the same time. So first, take notes on Lindsay's story.
So I want to share my original McDonald's story because, as we've said, I think that the reason that McDonald's continues to be so popular around the US and abroad is that everyone has their story, their McDonald's story. And for me, I grew up in the 80s, and my mother was doing her PhD at the time. And so when she had classes, I remember it was Wednesday nights, every Wednesday night, it was my dad's night to cook because she had to go to school. And I remember that when it was his night to cook, he would take us to McDonald's. And just as the people I just interviewed said, we always wanted the Happy Meal. We would get so excited about the Happy Meal. So that's just an example of, you know, how good their marketing was, and they knew how to kind of hook in the kids, and it created these memories. We would go to McDonald's and we would sit in the restaurant in Keene, New Hampshire, and I remember once we splattered ketchup all over the wall because we couldn't open the ketchup packet properly and it splattered everywhere, but we used to have a blast. So I remember it was me, it was my brother who's 2.5 years younger, and my dad, and those are some of the greater memories of my childhood happened at McDonald's. So that's my McDonald's story, and yeah, maybe I'll go grab a burger, let's see. Even though I've sworn off McDonald's and I'm always talking negative about kind of the health facts around McDonald's. It's kind of a nostalgic effect that it has. So maybe I'll go grab a burger. Now let's check your answers.
Hey guys, welcome back. Let's get to the answer. So Lindsay tells a lovely story about how when her mom was working and her dad would take her and her brother to McDonald's, and she has really fond memories of that. Just as a side note, I also have a lot of nostalgia around McDonald's growing up because my mom, she always made home cooked meals for dinner, okay? But once in a while, when we were super busy, she would take me to McDonald's, and it was like a treat. And I remember I had 2 birthdays at McDonald's as well, and I still remember those birthdays. They were so much fun. Okay.
You know, it's funny because when I started this project, I didn't even think about including McDonald's in the project at all, because I don't go to McDonald's very much anymore. Obviously, I did when I was a kid, but I stumbled on this McDonald's. And then I thought, of course, we have to have McDonald's in a course that's about American culture. So I'm excited to share this module with you because McDonald's is such an important piece of our history and our culture and our diet. Here is your task.
You're going to hear her interview a couple young kids. Well, they're young kids to me. I want you to write down what you hear about McDonald's in Australia.
Did you guys go to McDonald's as kids a lot with your families? Yeah.
You always beg your parents for like a Happy Meal, pretty much.
Yeah, I used to do the same thing. Do you have one like, yeah, go ahead.
No, I mean, yeah, just like a lot of like, hey mom,
I feel like you want the toy. That's kind of why you go to McDonald's. But of course, like, cheeseburgers are great.
Yeah.
Growing up, you learn to appreciate the kind of taste and everything else, but like it's like that toy because nobody else has.
It's
like,
the toy. That was for me too. It was the Happy Meal that got me in, constantly bugging my parents about it. Have you tried In-N-Out Burger?
Yes.
Yes.
How does it compare in your mind?
It tastes more American to me. I don't know.
Which one, McDonald's or?
In-N-Out.
I'm
not sure how to describe that.
What is the American taste? That's interesting.
You have American cheese.
Yep.
And it does taste different to like just regular cheddar, I guess.
Yep.
We don't really have that orange cheese in Australia. It's honestly just non-existent.
Yeah. We often ask, is that food? Right? American
It's just
cheese.
normal.
Good though, I really like it.
It's just cheese to me. This conversation is just normal to me. Cheese, American cheese.
It's weird. It's great.
What's an American burger? Every American burger, I guess.
Have you guys had McDonald's on your trip here? Like, do you still go to McDonald's, or is it just a thing of the past, like of the 80s and 90s for you?
I still go to McDonald's because I live here. So
okay.
I go a lot. There's only really 4 main fast food chains in Australia, so McDonald's is kind of like the big one.
Yeah.
So if you want to go get like a burger and fries, you go to McDonald's, really.
So people still go there now?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Even though there's a lot of research coming out on, well, there always
I've
has
heard
been.
that people say McDonald's is failing a little bit, but I think it's still really popular where I live.
Yeah. Do you think in the future it'll continue to succeed just because it is McDonald's?
I would tend to think so.
Yeah.
I think so. It's just been around for so long. I imagine
They'll
that.
find a way.
Interesting.
Even if they're losing.
Interesting.
money.
Now let's check your answers.
About Australian McDonald's, she says they don't have orange cheese. I thought that was funny. They don't have the same cheese at the McDonald's in Australia, but I'm pretty sure everything else pretty much tastes the same. Okay.
Here is your task.
And finally, you're going to take a tour through a McDonald's museum. Did you know that that existed? I didn't. So, as this is the most important task, guys. As you follow the tour guide, you're going to take notes on a timeline. So every time you see or hear him mention a year, I want you to write down what happens in that year. Okay, so by the end of this task, you're going to have a whole timeline you've written down about the history of McDonald's. Okay, listen carefully, have fun.
So I am at the site of the original McDonald's, the historic site of the original McDonald's. And this is a museum that is going to teach us about the original founders of McDonald's, the people who created it. And let's go inside and have a chat with the people who run this museum and learn a bit more about McDonald's.
This is basically a private museum. Our emphasis is really on telling people about the brothers.
Okay.
We feel that their contribution is greatly diminished, but it's important not just for the history of fast food, but for San Bernardino's history as well. It's a major thing. And it's not just the brothers who started here. Glenn Bell, who would eventually start Taco Bell, started out here. But where we start is with these guys. This is Richard and Maurice McDonald, known as Dick and Mac. And they started off as a barbecue establishment during the war years. And later on in the post-war years, they went to a car hop system. Now this photograph here is commonly used when describing the original McDonald's. What most of the people don't realize is that there was another evolution after that. And here we have the octagonal building that had also been changed slightly, but is here when they started with the 15-cent burgers and the assembly line kind of thing that we know now.
Okay, that was in 1949?
Yeah. And we have some of those items over here. These were all items that were fabricated for the brothers.
And what were these items used for?
These were kitchen items, spatulas, condiment dispensers. You would sort of, as you can see the gentleman right there, he's shooting down ketchup or mustard or some kind of condiment. That's what those were for. They still use stuff like this in the business. But eventually they would do away with all this and they would build store number 1. Okay. Which is right here.
Store number 1 right here, which is here in San Bernardino.
Which is right here in San Bernardino. You see the sign, you see the Speedy character, you see all of the stuff that you now see in a lot of McDonald's as retro.
Okay.
This is where the retro comes from, for lack of a better word. And over here is our little wall of a lot of the people who were here in the beginning, former employees. We try to get some of their testimonies because so many of them are no longer with us. But this is all people from the car hop era and whatnot. And over here is Ray Kroc's franchise. This is what Ray in Des Plaines, Illinois is. You see the similarities there.
Yeah.
This is technically the 9th McDonald's.
Okay, this one right here, the
Yes.
1954.
This is the 9th McDonald's. And the oldest one that I know of is number 4, which is in Downey, California.
Okay.
Okay, now here we have Ray Kroc and his multi-mixers. He was a multi-mixer salesman prior to meeting the brothers.
What is a multi-mixer?
Multi-mixer makes milkshakes. And eventually he would franchise for the brothers before he would buy them out for $2.7 million in 1961 dollars. And after the deal was done, the deal did not involve this location. The brothers continued to stay at this location, but for copyright reasons they could no longer call themselves McDonald's, so they changed the signage to the Big M.
Okay.
And that's how it stayed until eventually, sometime in the latter 60s, the building changed hands. It went to Neil Baker of Baker's Burgers, Baker's Drive-Thru, and eventually, at least as I understand it, the building was eventually abandoned and it was torn down by the city. We have an article of it over there. And that's pretty much where it ends. Everything that we have here, originally what we had were pictures on the walls.
Yeah.
In the late 90s, and what happened is that people began coming, bringing stuff and giving it to us, thinking maybe you'll want this, maybe you'll want that, and that's how our collection has grown. It's very much an organic process.
Why do you think McDonald's has survived so many years and continues to be so popular in the U.S. and abroad? Like, why do you think it's caught on so much?
People just love it.
Yeah.
With every generation just gets attached to it. Every generation has their own memories of McDonald's.
Yeah.
We get people from all over. People bring their children. They look at the toys. It's Americana, really.
Now let's check your answers.
Okay, now the timeline. Here's the important bit. I'm going to walk through this, okay? Check your answers. Make sure you've written all this stuff down. In 1942, the war years, right? Dick and Mac started a barbecue joint. Joint is a slang term for restaurant, so that's good. A barbecue joint. After that, post-war years, they developed the car hop system. The car hop system is where you would drive to a restaurant, stay in your car in the parking lot, and there was a waitress, sometimes on roller skates. She would come out of the restaurant and serve you in your car, like take your order and serve you in your car. So, post-war years, car hop system. Then, 1948 to 1954, they inhabited the octagonal building. That's a good word. The octagonal building. And then in 1949, they were selling burgers for 15 cents and started using the assembly line to produce food. 1954, store number 1. You see the sign in the video, and they got that they developed that character, that's sort of the retro idea of that some McDonald's are trying to use now, sort of revamping their style into a retro style that reminds us of the past. So that comes from 1954. Also in 1954, the 9th McDonald's was established by Ray Kroc in Illinois. In 1961, the Kroc buys out the brothers for $2.7 million. That was a lot of money in 1961, you guys. And then after that, the brothers stayed in the original location, but they changed the sign to the big M. So that's when the sign changed. Later in the 60s, Baker's Burgers bought the building. A lot of B's in that sentence, but that was sort of an end of an era, right? And then eventually it was abandoned it was just abandoned, left empty, and it was torn down by the city. So maybe that's one reason why this McDonald's museum is so important, right? Because we've lost some of that history. All right. Reflection. It's time to really take in this information, this idea of nostalgia. All right, I want you to reflect on some memories you have from growing up. Think about a restaurant, somewhere your mom or your dad or both would take you that meant something to you, okay? Like I told you about my McDonald's story. Do you have a McDonald's story, or is it another restaurant? What is this that you remember? Why did you visit it? Why was it special? I want you to think about this. Take notes on your ideas, and then make a video of yourself telling this story. Okay, use your phone if you want, use your computer camera. Okay, make a video of yourself talking about this childhood memory. Okay, I would also like you to research a chain restaurant in your country. Find out who the founders were. What is the history? Make a timeline just like the timeline that you made today about McDonald's. Do some research, make a timeline about a local restaurant or a chain in your country. And then I want you to share this timeline, explain it, describe it, share it with someone else. All right, take some time with this reflection, guys.
Now, please do the activity. Coming up in the next lesson. So now that you've learned how to articulate your own McDonald's story in English, you're gonna meet a crazy genius. He's an American inventor that we call the Rocket Man. So let's go ahead and meet the Rocket Man.